$5,000. Cash payment to anyone who can prove that what lying son of a devil Farrakhan is preaching is consistent with the lessons, supreme wisdom, of Master Fard Muhammad Elijah Muhammad's representation of his teacher Master Fard's teachings. Do you then believe in a part of the book and disbelieve in the other? What then is the reward of such among you as do this but disgrace in the life of this world, and on the day of resurrection they shall be sent back to the most grievous chastisement. And Allah is not heedless of what you do. 86 These are they who buy the life of this world for the hereafter, so their chastisement shall not be lightened, nor shall they be helped.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulaiman Rahim here, Mr. the Covenant. We got 7 seals. Brothers and sisters, change. What Elijah Muhammad says, dissatisfaction brings about change, and 100% dissatisfaction brings about 100% change. Change. What else doesn't have a camera issue here? A second here. Satisfaction brings about change. 100% dissatisfaction brings about 100% change. So we can talk about change, brothers and sisters. But actually, the consequence of every action has opposite equal reaction. Change is like the second major attribute of God. Because the universe, primary function, primary property attribute is every action has the opposite equal reaction consequence. Second is change, constant change. Where we get scripture. And scripture tells you, right? Hold on, brothers and sisters. Back, brothers and sisters. Let's talk about change. 1 second. See, those two things are two most powerful attributes of God. When the Quran talking about Allah in that sense, it's not talking about the individual. It's talking about the principle of the universe, which governs us all. There's no exceptions. Action has an opposite equal reaction that applies to all, everything. There's no exceptions. Never has been, never will be. Fundamental principle of the universe. It is the universe. Nothing more fundamental than that. That's existence. Then change. Without change, there will be no action without reaction. Because that's a change itself. Action and a change. Reaction. So these two work together. Two most fundamental. Okay. That's what we're up against. Okay. That's what the whole world's up against. Change. Change. Now let's analyze this change. And then you understand, like these clowns right here, understand what they're about. Now, what's the science of change? Okay, the universe, you cannot create energy nor destroy it. So if the universe is constantly changing, that means it changes from one form to another, like change from water to ice, ice to water, water to steam, goes from one form to another. What happens to the old form? It's destroyed. When water turns to steam, the old form is destroyed. It has destroyed the old form, bringing a new form. Fundamental. I'm talking about science here, mathematics. You have destroyed the new form destroys the old form because that's where it comes to life off the fuel of the old form. It converts the old form into new forms. That means it has to destroy the structure of the old form to bring a new form. Both can exist at the same time. The new form and the old form cannot exist at the same time because the new form comes from destruction of the old form. It's just converting from one thing to another. Going from 5 plus 5 to 7 plus 3. 5 plus 5 is not there anymore. 7 plus 3 is there. There's no 5 plus 5. If all it is 10, then 10 can take many forms. It can take 1 plus 9, 3 plus 7. With 3 plus 7, and change to 2 plus 8. 3 plus 7 is not there anymore. It's destroyed. So the new form destroys the old form. It depends on the type of the structure. It depends on the structure of the forms. So water transforming from water to steam, right? Well, it's got to boil, so you see trouble in the water. You see trouble in the water. The water got to boil to turn to steam, so you see trouble in the water. That's minor compared to if you want to transform something more complicated, like iron, into a liquid, molten. It takes a lot of, because there can be a lot of resistance from the iron. It takes a lot of heat to change it. So it's more destructive of the old. It's hard to do it. Depends on the structures. the more complicated the structure, the more difficult the transformation is. Let me say it again. The more complicated the structure, the more difficult the transformation is. Now, what's the most complex structure in the universe? What's the most complex structure in the universe? We are. What they call humanity, even though humanity includes mankind, which is a beast, but in our form. The point is, this world right now, what's the structure of it? What structure is this world right now? Who controls it? It's almost as powerful as us. Their structure is almost as, their structure is greater than every other. It's not greater than ours, but this structure is greater than any other structure in the universe. It's greater than the structure of the stars, structure of the moon, the structure of the animals, the plants. Their structure, right, is not as structured. But there's more, there's more. And so therefore, the world is based on their structure right now, atom structure. The most powerful structure in the universe. The universe is changing. And you have two types of change. You have destructive change and constructive change. Constructive change and destructive change. What's destructive change? That means, right, you're taking the best, right, and making it less and less and less. So in other words, if you're taking ice and change it to water, right, ice is a stronger structure, right? That's destructive change because it's going to a lower structure. If you're taking the opposite, right? That's constructive change because now the water is becoming, it's turning water into ice. It's going to have a greater structure. You have two types of structure. So the universe is in two phases, right? Two categories. So it was when it's increasing, when the universe is expanding, you have destructive, right? Destruction. But when it's contracting, you have constructive, destructive, transformation, constructive transformation. Understand these points. Because remember, we're talking about something transform from one form to another. It gets back to every action has osmotic reaction. So it's going one way or the other way. Is the action a positive action or a negative action? And the way it's going to have a reaction, if it's a positive action, it's going to have a negative reaction. If it's a negative reaction, it has a positive action. See, by two sides of it. So it depends on the nature of change. Your universe expanding. You have destructive transformation because you're going from more complex structure to weaker and weaker structures. But if it's contracting, right, you're going from weaker structures to stronger structures. Understand that. And the transformation is the stronger structures, the greater transformation is, the more difficult transformation is, the more violent transformation is. So if you get to the point where you have a reversal, where you get to the point where you had destructive change, it got worse and worse and worse, right? Because the universe is expanding, and then you start reversing. That means now the universe start contracting. Now you got the positive universe is positive construction, right? Transformation. But now you're going another way. You're taking the negative, transform it to more positive. I'm just trying to explain to you mathematically in the simplest way I can. I tried all kinds of ways. I explained to you like birth yesterday. Just clear mathematics. If you understand those principles, again, you have constructive and destructive. Destructive change, if you tear things down from one form to a lesser form. Constructive is you take it from lesser form to a greater form. It depends on the structure that's transforming, how violent that structure will be, how complex, how much energy is involved. And as so-called human beings, we're the most complex structure in the universe. So if we go to that process, that means this, the transformation be unprecedented. Because no other system in the universe, right, is as more complex. So the transformation there was not anywhere near as transformation we're going to go through. That's why it's unprecedented. Stars transforming, it's still not. You say, oh, it's violent. Well, not violent is how transformation will be. So in other words, that means at the point, okay, universe is expanding. So the point where it starts contracting again, then it goes from negative transformation to positive transformation right there, right at that point right there. Now, that one was negative, the weakest one, right? Because that was the one. Now it's, let me say it another way. Now you're going from the most complex structure starting to emerge. But that's destroying weaker structure, because that's it. Right? You transform one state to one energy construction to another. We can't create energy, nor can we destroy it. So energy is transferred from one form to another. So if you bring a new world, that means you have to destroy the old world. You bring a new structure, you have to destroy the old structure. Positive structure will overcome the weaker structure. And well, don't say it that way. Yeah, leave it like I said. One structure, weak, stronger structure, because remember, you bring in a stronger structure. A greater structure, it's going, the only way it can come in is where's going information, energy come from? It has to transform the older structure into a new structure. Can't create energy to destroy it. If you understand that. If you understand that. If you understand that principle, then you understand what's going on now. Because Adam, right, make men shed blood, he was the last stage of the destructive transformation. Because the greater structure was destroyed to bring in the weaker structure. The weaker structures, they destroyed the civilization of the greater structure, destroyed it, wiped it out. All the people, wiped them out. Destroyed the old structure, to bring in that weaker structure. Right? That'd be the last stage before the reverse. Right? Now, the weaker structure, the structure that was destroyed, right? The seed of it, if the seed exists, it still exists, now it's starting to grow. It only can grow by taking the energy from the dominant structure, or the structure that was the reality that existed at that time. You know what I'm saying? So Adam, instead, again, Adam, you had, let's put it straightforward. The original nation, that was a stronger structure. It was destroyed. That structure, they destroyed because it was destructive transformation as the universe was expanding to the maximum. And so the new structure came in, was a weaker structure because of destructive process, destructive transformation. So they ruled. Then when the universe starts contracting again, now a greater structure will start emerging. Right? It has to emerge off what? Off the energy from the old structure. It'd be unprecedented because these are the most complex structures in the universe. Making sense to you, brothers and sisters? And so they're going to resist because they're being destroyed by the new structure, the birth of a nation, a more structured nation, greater structure. But from the birth, it's like what? How's a child come? It has to take energy from a mama. It convert energy. It doesn't come energy from nowhere. That's why it's in the womb. So you have to take energy out of that womb to make it, and same thing. And the scriptures tell us that America is our womb. They say, that's why I tell these things. It says, those pregnant with child or whatever, they're talking about, we're in the womb of America. And the energy of America is the energy we got to use. Convert that energy into, see how where you going? Oh no, it ain't what it means. That's stupidity. I'm going with that. Point of birth, that's where the greatest blood is, ain't it? When we give birth, that's where the greatest blood is, ain't it? Birth come and the blood, lots of blood come with it. That's why that's the birth, the bloodbath in America. Bloodbath in America. Well, who else is part of that birth? Who's part of that birth? In a sense, then the ark. Michael's angels, they're part of that birth too. So they come, right? They got to take the energy in the womb they're in, convert it to the new reality. They're all part of one body. Left ditto. They got to change what's over there into that new reality that they're part of. So in other words, we're one body. But the hand has a different reality than the feet. Feet have different reality, but they all this is one reality working together. You see why I say bloodbath? That's why it's a bloodbath over there. Bloodbath over there. So the bloodbath is what? What bloodbath is to? There, we take it and make it a new reality. Who's controlling this reality? Big God. Not only them. That whole mankind reality. There's the spearheads of it. We take it and make it a new world, converting the energy to a higher form. They are resistors of bloodbath. They're the ones going to be the blood. Primarily. America's. In other words, the greatest blood will be where the great structure is coming forth. So as if, say, for instance, you had 3 different children, right? Each one was more complex than the other. And the more complex child would produce. That's why America would be the greatest bloodbath right here. And then the second bloodbath would be over there in the Middle East. Whose blood's being spilled? Primarily the Europeans. It's their reality. That's why you see Armageddon, European war. They wipe each other out. I'm trying to explain to you another way so you can understand it in the most fundamental way. Change. Change. And so the old world, the new world is destroying the old world. Those world don't want to be destroyed. They're going to resist. That's the war complex. Remember the blood. Blood comes because there's violence. And the violence is what the resistance, war. On the level of so-called humanity, that's war. War of Armageddon, apocalypse, tribulation, new nation being born. One part here, head here, the arms there. See? Where it is, blood. Because they're resisting. The old world resists because the new world destroys the old world. You both can't exist. The summer, spring destroys the winter. Spring coming, it destroys the winter. Both can't exist at the same time. So if you're the winter, you're going to try. You want to continue to exist. You're going to try to stop the spring. You want to do everything you can to stop the spring. You understand? In that sense, brothers and sisters, that's what's going on. And so you can identify who the winner is, who all resist, who all the world is, because they're the ones resisting the new one. These clouds here. You could tell how big, how this war is going, their reaction. So the more desperate they get, that means the more powerful you're becoming. If there's winning, you'd be the one desperate. That's where a new nation's being born. Greater nation. Greater structure. But it has to take the energy to destroy this structure, because that's material from this structure, which they build a new building, you have to tear down the old building. They take that material from the old building, use it to build something else with. Build another building. You understand? Energy transfer from one form to another. Ice don't come out of nowhere. It has to be transformed from water. So us coming in, this nation has to destroy, this reality has to destroy the previous reality. Who controls the previous reality? They're part of the previous reality. That's why they resist it. And the more they lie, and the more all the symbol and all that stuff they're doing, is showing how more desperate they are, because they're trying to hold on to this reality. The more they hold on, the more violent it gets until it turns to blood. When does it turn to blood? At the time of birth. That's why it says like birth pains. Women going through all this pain, all the pain, shit, pain. Then suddenly, water breaks. Birth starts, and you always see blood everywhere. I can't make any sympathy with that, brothers and sisters. That's what you see happening right now. Right now, you're seeing all the birth pain. Oh man, this happening. Oh, they're doing this. Who's desperate? The one's trying to hold on. What is Trump doing? Trying to hold? He's here to transform. He's trying to hold on to what they got. Think about it. See, that's why you got to pay attention to these things. He's trying to hold on to what they have. That means he's losing. A new reality's coming in. The new reality's coming in is like a new child born. That people, it could be a seemingly way on, but still be like children. Because that's at the beginning of their life. They're given a primer book. Injil, beginning. Because see, what the old world is gonna tell you? No, we want to hold on this world. Quran. We're hold on to Elijah. Farrakhan's the last one. See, if you understood Elijah Muhammad said that doesn't make any sense at all. Because if the Quran was it, then why did science keep writing scripture? They said they're going to continue writing every 25,000 years. Every 25, they write for the next 25,000 years. So then why they don't need to write scripture anymore? Just keep referring back to the Quran. Yet the Quran has had a victory in 500 years. And on top of that, right, they have no idea what's going on in the world right now. You know, I just everything because and the confusion becomes greater because it's like when you lose them, you start hallucinating, you get scared, you get nervous, you say anything, you start You ever seen a cat get cornered by a dog? You get it back up like an arc, and that dog comes in, I go wow, that's what gets the dog. But he ain't doing no karate stuff. He just trying to live. He just scratching, killing, and that's what happened. So they say anything, lie. Remember, it's a mind war. They say anything, because they're desperate. Hold on. See? Then you understand what's going on. So that's what that stuff makes any sense. It won't make any sense because it's more confusing. Because they're desperate to hold on to this reality. Because the new reality destroys them. Totally. Most grievous chastisement. That means total obliteration. Total. The accuser. See? Try to make us stay here. Oh no, you got you don't want to leave here. You don't want to transform so much. You want to stay in this. There's something wrong with you, man. You don't need to change. You need something wrong with you, man. You need to stay here in the winter. It's your problem. You acting like some spring, man. No, man. What's wrong with me? No. You got to stay on the water here. You're the problem. You need to stay where you are. You don't want to transform into anything else. Yeah, you want, yeah, okay. No, yeah, okay. No, you want to transform. You see, you acting strange, right? So you should transform into the winter. So you acting difficult with spring people, right? The nature of spring. But they accuse them. See, you're wicked, see? You stay here and act like the winter. Act like the devils. See that? Listen to what he's saying. They're the standard. They say we should be more like them. That's what he's saying. Just be like, stay with the winter people. Forget about that spring stuff. Ain't that what he's saying? You ain't going nowhere. You stay here. Be more like them. You're not acting right. Is that what he's saying? So we understand the basic understanding there, and it gets out of just two things: change. Because every action had opposite reaction. That's change too. So it's hard to distinguish which one is more powerful, but the one most powerful is every action has opposite reaction. That's very, very nature. That's the essence of it. But then it expands and contracts. So therefore you say, well, it's changing. It's hard. This is almost you say, but it's almost say maybe that's more important. But no, without actual reaction, there would be a change. It's hard to distinguish between two. That's the two fundamental principles. I just explained it to you. Just using those two things, and that's the fundamental principle of the universe, the nature of it. And that's explaining what's going on right now. They're part of they identify themselves as part of the old reality. Because if they was part of the new reality, they wouldn't be resisting. They had told God, this person, I just had found this person. I was talking about 18 galaxies and all this stupid shit. Confused, now they're spreads confusion. But only when he's really hurting, those like himself. But see, the point is, that's why it says at that time, right, the tribulation, some everlasting life, some everlasting shame and appallment. How did they get through? Because it says in Daniel, they will please them with blandishment. Oh yeah, but I'm with you. I like that. That's right. In our heart, that's not it. But they still, they see trouble, but they want to hold on to. They don't want to. They see. So they really want to hold on to what, the whole world, but they see it's crumbling. They sense it. They say, went to was new, but still their hearts are old. And it shows up after a while. They make it through because hey, there's 5 pills. Okay. But they're scared. They do all the things they see the other ones do. They're scared. They got no sense. They say, oh man, it's this. Eating food, we can't figure that one out. They do all the things, they're hard in. So there's all kinds of ways but they make it. The point is, how do they make it though? Because they identify as soon as they get to homeland, they get there. They identify why? Because the heart and mind is still over reality. And so where it says shame and appallment, because they're going to die, they want to bring in the old reality, but they be restrained. Everybody's going to hear that. They be restrained, but they be trying. Real reality, shame and appallment. See? How you going to have shame and appallment? It has to be something active. Something they're doing that identifies them to be with the shame and be appalled. Okay? Hope you understand, brothers and sisters. You're going to have some of those. Some of it tells you, right? Some of them going to make it through tribulation. They pull you blandishment. Say, yeah, man, I'm with you. Could they see any fool, man, if you see a lion coming, man, you're going to, yeah, you know, try to persuade me. Let me get that way out. Get out of the way of that. So I'm trying to give it to you the simplest way, brother and sister. That's what's going on here. So those folks right there, they put it over out. That's why they resisted. They went demons or just weak, whatever, it doesn't matter to us. That's why I say those love this world's life, those love this reality, they'll push for them and hereafter. Just simple as that, brothers and sisters. Change. Change. So you're going to have a balance. And that's why it says grievous chastisement. It means the balance. It means the balance. If it says they go back to the most grievous chastisement, the only way that could be for someone that does that. Remember, the more complex the change is between the one condition to another, the greater the balance. Right? So they have to be close to us. You understand what I'm saying? But the most grievous, that means like if you have two, when transform into another, the more complex the two realities are, the greater the balance is. So the most grievous chastisement, that means that some great balance be done to them. Who are they? They come as close as they can because they actually in the Nation of Islam. That's where the birth is taking place. Am I getting through to you, brothers and sisters? They pretend to be us. They got structures close. So when we rise, instructions, who gonna do the, who gonna apply the most grievous chastisement to them? That's even worse than doing them as they've done to you. It's double. It's even worse than that because it's the most grievous. So chastisement will be even more grievous than that. So that identifies them as being somebody almost identical to us. Close. Where's the nation we born at? So we're born out of the NOI. Is that what we're born out of the NOI? So that means the resistance is going to be in the NOI. This start making sense, you brothers and sisters. The destruction will be terrible. The resistance is the greatest. They're the greatest resistance to the truth of our birth, aren't they? The devil will come after us. But they're the greatest because they said they're trying to destroy the vision. They're trying to destroy everything Elijah Muhammad did. Everything else. They actually trying to destroy our birth. We're not going anywhere. Those are our brothers. This time, they're actually just trying to destroy the birth and abort us. So they're the most violent resistors. That's why they get the most grievous chastisement. Understand the matter, brothers and sisters? That's why I say those things. So those right there, the demons, you know what I'm saying? Because the new reality comes and destroys them. The thrones are cast down. The show Exodus, they was all wiped out. New one, Moses brought the new ones in, he wiped out the old ones. It's the same story over and over again. The ones with Moses comes, those with the Lord come with me and destroyed the other ones. So a new nation, revised nation, right? Reborn, transformed nation, be out of the old. Why it says the messenger coming, right, will come study his temple out of the old. See how it comes together, brothers and sisters? Let's give it to you another way. He took what Elijah had and destroyed, right? The old, bring in the new. In the old, Joshua come to destroy the old, transform into the new. Transform into the new. That's why it comes to the nation of Islam and transform it. Give them their mind back. Transformation takes place there. And then they expand that transformation to the rest of the people. See what I said? He becomes his temple, and that transformation takes place there. See the math, my brother and sister? You start understanding this? That's what's going on. In the Middle East, part of the trend, part of our body, the new body. They come to birth. That over there, they trying to stop them. Everything trying to take Iran, they're ready to knock Syria. Strong. That's the new reality coming in. The Master Muhammad will be right there with them. He's bringing out the reality. So it's going to turn to violence too. Bloodbath. Resistance. That's great resistance here. This is worse. Because if you go and read the four seals, the worst is here. Seals, 1/4 earth, the worst is here. The second worst is over there. Who's the blood visited upon? Those that Adam, all of Adam. That's why it says mankind's a single nation. So you see the blood all over Europe. Totally bloody. Total. Stop making sense to this, brothers and sisters. It's a simple way of looking at it. Like I said, you don't need the angel. Angel just gives you more details and more timing. Just from looking at it from a just basic physics, action, reaction, change. Look at all the information you get. All the information you get. Then it confirms, it falls, it's very simple, and it falls totally in sync with what we told in the scriptures. Totally in sync. You come to his temple, the conversion takes place right there. That back, brothers and sisters. Unprecedented. Because you got to change the true realities, the most complex realities ever existed. And it represents the worst of the destructive transformations. Where's the opposite going to change from destructive to constructive? So we have to destroy who? Destructive transformation, most powerful one there is. Unprecedented. That unprecedented power in the destructive transformation phase. So, in order to bring ourselves existence, it's like recycling in a way, right? You eat flowers, you eat vegetation, right? Eat vegetation, right? Eat vegetation, right? You turn it to manure, right? Manure, you put it back in the ground. Where's the new vegetation get its energy from? From the manure, fertilizer. Transform one thing from one form to another. Transform manure into vegetation. What you eat, you change vegetation into manure. That's just the way the universe works, brothers and sisters. One destroys the other. The other one comes in existence, destroys the other. The new reality is coming in, it's destroyed over, and it's the most violent one in history because you got two of the most complex structures. Violent history. It's like another way. You say, no, okay. When they took us down, when they come, remember when they came, Adam came into existence. And we see right now that's ruling the world, God and Magog. When did they come into existence? About 5 years ago. When was our greatest destruction? 5 years ago, the Holocaust. Unprecedented. They destroyed our civilization to bring theirs in. They literally lived off us. We worked and transferred good. They use our engine and everything. They use our energy to build the civilization. They use us. They converted one thing from one form to another. Took our energy and converted to what they wanted to be. It's balance. They apply balance to us and the rest of the world, but mostly against us. They're bringing this here. They use violence. The world hadn't seen anything like that before. Not seen anything like that before. What happened 5 years ago, they went and went all over the world, destroying everything that they could put their hands on, and destroyed us, destroyed the people that was here already. See what I'm saying? Bring their reality in. They had destroyed the old reality. They destroyed it. We're just a remnant of it. So now, we come into existence, we're going to destroy this reality. Reverse. You understand, brothers and sisters? Yeah. It's right there in front of your face. There's nothing they can do about it. You can't, the spring, this winter, you're not going to not stop the spring. You just can't do it. It's impossible. That's why it says in there, don't worry about anything, Joshua. No one will be able to stand, no one will stand before you. So when he says, Joshua, who's talking about? He's talking all the people with Joshua. Because if you with Joshua 100%, you apply what Joshua do, no one, you get the same reward he gets. Because remember, he's not getting just because he's Joshua. He gets it because you just stick with the law, stick with that way. And so it means everybody else stick with that way to get the same reward Joshua gets. Invincibility. No hair in your hair be harmed. Kick ass. Anybody try to kick you back, it backfires on them. They might as well kick themselves. It's the same thing. Then Joshua, oh, just because you Joshua, no. Tell you, keep, be strong, be courageous, and stick with that law. Law of discipline. The law is discipline. But also the quality of discipline, but the quality of it is 5 pillars. There it is, bro. I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. So these clowns out here with their BS, 18th galaxy and Jesus. The thing is that the whole thing about Christianity, the whole idea is to take you away from God altogether. Not bring you to God. Going to take you away from consequence, take away from change. Those 2 fundamental principles: no change, no consequence. You just believe in Jesus, and it's all over. You can do whatever you want to do. It's totally reverse. They attack your mind. That's all right. Because if you got anchored down this reality, then you just go with it. In your case, you hold yourself down. You hold yourself down in here. Allah will lift you up and you cling to the earth. Well, how can you overcome Allah? See, the way to Allah, omnipotent, and none can resist or nothing, right? Then why do you make a statement like that? Allah will lift you up, but in other words, He can't lift you up because you clean the earth. So He ain't all powerful, is He? Because in other words, your strength is greater than His, ain't it? According to that parable, Allah will lift you up, but you cling to the earth. So that means your power is greater than His. Because He can't lift you up. You never pay attention to these things. So that shit they talking about, they don't know what the hell they're talking about. They don't know who Allah is, they have no idea. That's why Bliss had a problem. I can't make me shit, but I ain't going to do that. Yeah, but I'm a Muslim. How are you Muslim? I just told you to do something, you won't do it. So they had no idea to talk about. So let them keep on talking. It's all process this world's life. Probably 1,500 years old knowledge. That knowledge was good 1,500 years ago. It ain't worth shit right now. What about the scripture Abraham had? What's wrong with that scripture? He actually talked to God according to you. So hold on to that. All this part of this reality. Hold on to it. There's 144,000 eggs out there. We're waiting for those to get fertilized, and we out here. And we just flush you around the toilet. With the furnace, you put something in the furnace to purify it. Once it's purified, you pull out the furnace, turn the furnace off. This is simple stuff, brothers and sisters. But those disbelieve, be lacked in one and one not believe. Because you're part of this reality, you can't say anything I'm saying. And it wouldn't make any sense to you anyway. Because if you're with a person, even if you understood it, wouldn't do you any good. Because you can't survive in the spring, even if you want to. I'm going to go with you in the spring, yeah. Are you going to get sunburned, 3-degree beat and everything? Because you can't. 3 degree, 30-degree burn and everything else. Because you remember, your skin can't handle the sun. That's the everlasting shame and department. Those winter people that make it to the spring, it's going to be horrific for them. Oh, man. Get sunburned, man. Oh, it was hot. Oh, man. Hot out here, man. I can't handle the heat. You see what I'm saying? Even if they made it to the spring, it'd be uncomfortable for them. But spring people, man, they're uncomfortable in winter. Look at it, man. They can't, look at it. Look at the niggas, man. They don't know nothing. See, look at it. They run around here, man. They cold, shivering all the time. They can't get nothing done. They talk about us, right? But we spring people in the winter. Look how they're shivering all the time, man. Come out cold. They laying up under fire all the time, lazy. You know what I'm saying? Spring people. Then spring start coming on, so they start getting up and moving around. And what's going on there, man? Oh, it's very loud. wrong with them? Stop that. Global warming. Spring, right? Global warming. Get global warming. What does global warming do? Remember, global warming is a universal change, is it not? So what is global warming doing for the winter people? Global warming. Isn't that what they spring with this to them? When spring be called, when they call the spring global warming, you get it. You start to understand how this stuff works, brothers and sisters. Okay? But spring people, yeah, hey, they're on board. Yeah, global warming is good. That's what they want. Man, hey, I'm stop shivering now, man. I ain't cold no more. All right, now I gotta take care of business, man. And now they are. They told, oh man, it's getting too hot in here, man. Can we get a fan on? So I'm saying, turn the fan or something. Get out of here, man. Woo. Damn, I got sunburns. Give me some sunglasses, lesson lotion, whatever they call that stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Need some sunglasses. You get the point, brothers and sisters? It sounds like one thing for one person, for another person, something else altogether. So now all of a sudden they can't move around. Oh man, where's Benjamin Johnson? Oh man, he's over there in the pool, man. You know, how come he stay in the pool? Because he says it's too hot out here, man. How come he ain't working nowhere? He can't get out, man. It's too hot. I say too hot outside. See, that's the opposite now. Because before we was lazy, it was too cold. They're sitting there shivering. How come he ain't working, man? It's too cold. He can't get out. It's too cold. He needs to get warm. Now it's reversed, right? Oh man, he's too cold. Too hot out there. Too hot out there, man. Shit. Can you give me an umbrella? Something, man. It's too hot out there, man. See the point? Global warming. You get the point? It's simple. But your mind's clouded. You just gonna uncloud your mind. That's my job, uncloud it. Because all the things they complain about right now is good for you. It's bad for them. So we look like we was getting copied and everything else during the wintertime. But now we starting to be invigorated, man. Oh man, it's hot. Hey man, it's outside, man. It's sun out there, man. I remember, when I was younger, right? 76 years old, right? But in New Jersey, I'm running around, right? And like somebody got like 100 degrees, right? 90 degrees. I'm out there running. I said, man, what's wrong with you, man? You're hard heat. I said, it don't bother me. I love the heat. It didn't bother me. People said, 100 degrees? I remember when I was in Chicago, I lived all over the country, right? In Chicago, they had some real bad winters, right? I lived along the lake before I left, moved back to Jersey, right? And I'd be out there, extremely cold. I hate the cold. I'm kind of get off track here because I want to say, hate the cold, right? I don't know how I ended up in Chicago. Well, I know how I ended up in Chicago because Elijah Muhammad. So, but I jogged. And so I wouldn't think about jogging. I just go do it. If I thought about it, like sticking a toe in the water, I wouldn't do it. If you open that door, ooh, that pinch. I would just put my clothes on and have 3 layers of clothes. I just going out there. I know the people outside where I would go. 10 degrees, all kind of freezing. It's cold hell. I'd be running along the lake. This is no jive. It's no bullshit. I run along the lake, right? I got about 5 layers of clothes on. I'm puffing. Here comes this white boy around there with nothing but a damn t-shirt on and short shorts. Excuse me. Like I went in the military, right? They ask you, where would you think I'm going to do it right now, but they ask you, where would you like to be? I put all the hot places, so everything I think hot. They sent me the coldest place they can find, a place called Billflick in Germany. Billflick, we call it Wild Flicker. Cold place you can think of, mountain. Not on top of a mountain. I was so mad. You understand, brothers and sisters? So we, in the condition we are, because That's the cold. We had a cold spirit. We have a natural spirit. Right? That gives a cold. But let me put it another way. Right? I should say cold spirit. We have a hot spirit. We put in the refrigerator. We act on ourselves, and they accuse us for it. And Farrakhan accusing us for that. See, so we wasn't could keep up with the cold spirit of people because they was striving. We was like, man, we was incompetent, was lazy, stupid, and everything else. Because we couldn't understand the winter, didn't know how to deal with the winter. They downed us, they accused us, and then what happened? Spring's coming in, and then the reverse. And they don't want to come outside. It's too hot out there, man. They got, see, and you see what's happening? But they want to keep us under control. They want to keep the winter. So the violence is going to be off the page, bro. Says I'm going to leave it there. Play a couple more things, I'm going to let it go. Hope you got the point.
I gotta do this. Do you mind? Yes, I'm gonna do something. I don't want to put my brother on the spot. See, this is this. This is something else. Love and faith transcends color. And the reason why we embrace Father Flagler as a brother is because we find him on the battlefield of justice, being a true disciple of Jesus. And the last thing I'll say is you'll never call us racist.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Because this day that we honor,
Yes, sir.
Master Fard Muhammad, if you see an image of him, put his image up.
Yes, sir.
That's the man whose father was a black man and his mother a Caucasian. And how many of us have a parent that's a Caucasian or grandparent? It's not about color. It's about our submission to the will of God. And in that we find common ground and unity.
Yes, sir.
So I'm only one shade lighter than you, so. And Mustafa maybe 4 more shades lighter. We a family.
Yes, sir.
Let's stay a family and be a family and love each other as God would have us to love each other. We love you, Father. Happy Savior's Day. Thank you. I had to do that. We love you.
One more time, brother.
Although the Nation of Islam, does not presently advocate violence by its members, the group does preach hatred of the white race and racial separatism. The membership of the Nation of Islam is organized and poses a real racial threat. The Nation of Islam is responsible for the largest black nationalist newspaper, which has been used by other black extremists. The Nation of Islam appears to be the personal fiefdom of Elijah Muhammad. When he dies, a power struggle can be expected and the Nation of Islam could change direction. We should be prepared for this eventuality. We should plan how to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation, deleting the race hatred and separate nationhood aspects. In this connection, Chicago should consider what counterintelligence action might be needed now or at the time of Elijah Muhammad's death to bring about such a change in Nation of Islam philosophy. Important considerations should include the identity, strengths, and weaknesses of any contenders for Nation of Islam leadership. What are the positions of our bureau deletion informants in regard to leadership? How could potential leaders be turned or neutralized? The alternative to changing the philosophy of the Nation of Islam is the destruction of the organization. This might be accomplished through generating factionalism among the contenders for Elijah Muhammad's leadership or through legal action in probate court on his death. Chicago should consider the question of how to generate the factionalism necessary to destroy the Nation of Islam by splitting into several groups. Bureau deletion. Do you think that the FBI just folded and walked away? Read this document carefully. Did not the FBI accomplish each of their goals? Did not Farrakhan deliver everything the FBI wanted? We should plan to change the philosophy of the Nation of Islam to one of strictly religious and self-improvement orientation. Sunniism, Scientology. Deleting the race hatred. Don't call devils anymore. Deleting the separate nationhood aspects. We ain't going nowhere. No existing economic program. The reason why these facts are ignored is because those that surround him are demons, fools, idolaters and FBI agent handlers who make sure he stays on track. Louis Farrakhan suspects that his father may have been Jewish. At least that's what he tells Henry Louis Gates Jr. in the current issue of the New Yorker magazine. Speaking of his father's white Portuguese parents, the Nation of Islam leader said, "I'm going to tell you something. You really want to know what I think? I think they were members of the Jewish community." He added, "I believe that in my blood, and not in a bad way. Because when I was a little boy I used to love listening to the Jewish cantors in Boston. They had a program, and every week I would listen. I was struck by the cantor, and I've always loved the way they sing or recite the Torah." Gates, citing an academic source, says Farrakhan's assertion about his lineage is highly probable given that nearly all people of Iberian descent in Jamaica and Barbados are of Sephardic Jewish ancestry. Farrakhan was born in 1933, the son of May Clark, who was from Barbados. He was named Gene after his father, a light-skinned man with straight hair from Jamaica. His father, Gates writes, was a philanderer whom the family rarely saw. "If in my lineage there are Jews, I would hope that in the end, before my life is over, I not only will have rendered a service to my own beloved community of black people but will also have rendered a service to the Jewish community," Farrakhan was quoted as saying. In the interview with Gates, which reportedly lasted 9 hours, the Nation of Islam leader also made reference to wise Jews who plan evil, the international conspiracy of Jewish bankers and overwhelming Jewish complicity in the slave trade. Jewish groups expressed outrage over Farrakhan's latest public statements. Farrakhan's effort to make it appear that he is merely criticizing the evil he finds in his own Jewish antecedents is a reflection of the bizarre and ludicrous nature of his entire behavior towards Jews. Phil Baum, executive director of the American Jewish Congress, said in a statement. Meanwhile, a planned protest against the Anti-Defamation League of B'nai Brith fit.
Okay, brother says I'm gonna leave it there. So understand, brothers and sisters. Remember, the FBI said destruction of the Nation of Islam. That was their goal, destruction. They say delete, Bureau of Deletions, that means they delete the names of those organizations and the people. But you know who they are. But they're there. We know who they are. If you understand what I just told you, you know who they are. That's one of them. X, so-called Son of Man, all these people. They're trying to hold on to reality. They be violently destroyed, violently, most grievous chastisement. So you don't have to see the wind, just realize it's blowing. So I'm trying to get you to start thinking mathematically, brothers and sisters. See with this. Those, they want to see with this. And you can't see that. Start seeing with this. You use the word seeing, but that's the reason they use. You see that? The reason they say that. Well, no, wait a minute. Did you realize that, right? See what I'm saying? How can you see what they're saying? The reason they say because sight is their highest sense. That's why you got this language. I'm going to talk about that another time. This language is messed up. See, the thing is, it's not so much between Arabic and English, but English is more than just the words. It's the context and everything else. Like you said, you see what I'm saying? How can you see what you're saying? See, because sight is the highest form of sensory. We want you to start mind thinking. You can't see with your mind, but that's your language. We got to get rid of that language. Otherwise, you're speaking Arabic, but you're just saying context. You're still saying the same. You word for sight. You're saying Arabic, but you're saying the same. You're speaking English and Arabic. Put it that way. You want that. Right now, Arabic is a lot of Arabic is English, but anyway. So the point is, what we need to do is speak mathematically. So do you understand what I'm saying? Not you see what I'm saying. That doesn't make any sense. You think about it. How can I see what you're saying? The words letters come out your visible letters come out your mouth. Lot to do, brothers and sisters. Hope I explained, but so we that right. Well, you understand what I just said? You identify with enemies. Enemies are. You can't blame them for wanting to hold on. The winner. You can't blame the winner for being stay on the winner. But the point is, like, you can't blame a roach for being a roach, but you don't want your roach in your house. You see what I'm saying? So you stump on them. The roach falls to the roach. You can't blame the winner for hang on the winner. In fact, the more you want to hang on to it, the more you respect it, because they made it, well, we created it when they love it, so. You know more love life more than these devils do. It's that still, winter's got to go. If you want spring to come in, it's either us or them. That's what it comes down to. When spring to come in, you got to destroy winter. Yeah, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But they try to go, I don't want to destroy the winter. I love him. I don't want to go to her. I want to see what happen to the winter. I want to see what happen to the winter. Let me play that real quick and then I'm close, brothers and sisters. Then you understand what they're saying when you understand what I just told you.
I believe that America can be beautiful. How can America be made beautiful? Now, family, listen. My brother Imam Wadafuddin and I have had disagreement, but his followers and mine have never given each other as much as a bloody nose. Because in spite of our differences, there's a deep love in us. We don't like the things about our nation that is not good, but I don't want to live anywhere else. I want America to be made right. I don't want to see America go the way of Rome and Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah. But why won't she go that way? If the men of religion and the women of religion keep silent. When the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again. When the Muslims were alive, you dead as hell now on both sides.
Yes, sir, brother minister. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. That's real, brother minister. Both sides. That's real.
Wake us up, dear Apostle.
When we was alive, we set up schools.
That's right.
When we were alive, we had supermarkets.
That's right.
We owned buildings. We owned farmland. We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they're not doing nothing on top of the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
Say less. Say less. Assalamu alaikum. Let me back up here, bro. I don't know if I moved that or not. Let me back up.
I believe that America can be beautiful. How can America be made beautiful? Now, family, listen. My brother Imam Wadafuddin and I have had disagreement, but his followers and mine have never given each other as much as a bloody nose. Because in spite of our differences, there's a deep love in us. We don't like the things about our nation that is not good, but I don't want to live anywhere else. I want America to be made right. I don't want to see America go the way of Rome and Babylon and Sodom and Gomorrah. But why won't she go that way? If the men of religion and the women of religion keep silent. When the Muslims were alive, I'll say it again. When the Muslims were alive, you dead as hell now on both sides.
Yes, sir, brother minister. Yes, we are. Yes, sir. That's real, brother minister. Both sides. That's real.
Wake us up, dear Apostle.
When we was alive, we set up schools.
That's right.
When we were alive, we had supermarkets.
That's right.
We owned buildings. We owned farmland. We were busy doing something, hiring our people. Well, I'm telling the Muslims, damn it, if you don't come alive, you will die like you are. And I will say, thank you, Allah, because if they're not doing nothing on top of the earth, let the worms eat their ass.
We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these are these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he's.
We have a lot. We have a lot of that going on, but we're taking care of our farmers. We can't let our farmers not have anybody, these are these people, you can't replace them very easily. People that live in the inner city are not doing that work. They're just not doing that work. And they've tried, we've tried, everybody tried. They don't do it. These people do it naturally. I said, what happens if they get it to a farmer the other day? What happens if they get a bad back? He said, they don't get a bad back, sir, because if they get a bad back, they die. I said, that's interesting, isn't it?
Well, you heard that. Donald Trump is a believer in eugenics. He believes that white people are the superior race. And inner city is code for black people. And he believes black people cannot now work on the farms. I guess they're not good enough for that. So Hispanic people can do it because they have the backs for it. This is what this man is saying out loud in interviews. He is a racist. It's been proven time and time again. The man had Mein Kampf on his bedside table that he would read at night. Enough to let you know where he stands on that. Just more outrageous, racist things from Donald Trump. They want to arrest those who can do the farm work, well, until their backs give out. And then he'll probably ship them to El Salvador or some other country. Just more vile statements from the president and let you know where he stands.
When they were arresting people for praying outside of abortion clinics. I mean, I do think the UK, and I say this as, someone who is half English, I think it's like reached, or it is quickly reaching a point where democratic reforms are going to be pretty tough because of the demographic change. And that, of course, the point of importing all these people is to overwhelm the people who live there who disapprove of the program. So you don't have to care what they think because you just bring in new people. and their will becomes like all that matters. And so I don't think you're going to fix these things through elections at some point, probably pretty soon. And I just worry a place like the UK, Canada is another, a bunch of different countries in the West are at the point where they're literally revolutionary. They are poised for revolution. And as someone who really doesn't support revolution and hates violence and hates civil war above all, I'm worried about that. I mean, I don't see how this is fixed. Starmer, who's, he's just an instrument of larger forces, but he's a poisonous character, obviously, who's really hurt your country. He's in there for, 4 more years? And so you wonder, people are going to start to get really radical in a scary way. I think this is going to happen. And the people in charge don't seem to care.
Well, you're already seeing it. You are seeing the anger beginning to manifest itself, and I completely understand the anger. I don't like you. I abhor any form of violence, but I do understand the anger when you have, Keir Starmer campaigned on, I'm going to smash the gangs that allow these little boats to come over the channel, delivering tens of thousands of people illegally into the country, and they then get put into these so-called asylum hotels where they're given a pretty good lifestyle, certainly a far better lifestyle than many people really struggling at the moment in the UK. And of course, far from smashing the gangs, it turned out yesterday that he's smashing new records for the number of people coming in illegally on the boats. Of course. It's out of control. And the British public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly?
Public are reaching a point of saying, we are done with people coming in illegally and being treated better in a more comfortable and more luxurious manner than we treat our own people.
Well, the whole point is to humiliate and degrade the indigenous population of the British Isles, the white population. I mean, that's the whole point. And are they really going to do something about it? What would that be exactly? You'd really have to force a lot of people to go back to their countries of origin, millions of people, and you need to do it really soon. And are they actually willing to do that? I don't know, but these are existential questions that we have been browbeat into ignoring for decades. But the question is is Ireland Ireland? If it's majority non-Irish, oh, shut up, they're Irish. No, they're actually not Irish. Same with the UK, same with England, Scotland, Wales. It's all changing so fast. Nothing like this has ever happened in all of history, except when, say, the Mongols swept across the steppe and raped everybody. That was true demographic change on this scale. But even that wasn't as profound as what we're seeing in every white country around the world. I would say the West, but Australia and New Zealand also. So what is that? Now, my brain is not big enough to understand what that is. I have a lot of theories about it, but I don't know if they're true. All I know is what the numbers are, and that's real, and no one feels that he can say it. Everyone's like, oh, well, if that were happening in China or India or Malaysia or Senegal, it doesn't matter. You'd be like, what the hell is that? The population's totally different. Look at graduation. Pick, King's College Law School, and look at the graduation picture for the last 30 years. Who's in it? Just let your eyes tell you the truth for once. This is a total change in population. Is it better? Is it worse? Can't have that conversation. Who's pushing this? Does the population want it? The population clearly doesn't want it. There's no polling that's meaningful on the subject. There's no referendum on it. You don't get to decide. You've got no voice in it, other than you get to go to jail if you complain loudly enough about it. What is this? I think it's the biggest and darkest thing that has happened in the last 1,000 years, for sure. And I think it's leading somewhere really, really bad. It's not happening by accident, that's obvious, because it's only happening in white countries.
I think that...
Oh, shut up, white supremacist. Well, in fact, I'm not a white supremacist. I'm just noticing what the hell's going on.
I think most people I've spoken to about this in the UK, most people have always viewed the UK to be a very tolerant, multicultural, cosmopolitan place to live. That's why so many people want to come here. And people have no problem with that. And it's been very successful for a long period of time.
But it's multicultural? What does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law does that mean?
We have a lot of different people from different countries, different cultures, and it's always worked historically.
So is Sharia law in a multicultural country, is Sharia law every bit as valid as English common?
No, people don't want Sharia law here. No.
A lot of people do. Wait, hold on. I don't know what you mean. Multiculturalism itself is a lie designed to subvert a society. No, a society has a culture. You can argue about what it is or ought to be. It's not necessarily the same as race. It's connected to race, but it's not the same. People from different races can buy into your culture. That was kind of the beauty of the West. But a multicultural society is not sustainable. There's never been
your
such a
society
thing.
Is
one
about
culture will dominate.
Hang on, Tucker. Surely the United States of America, given the very way it was created, is the epitome of a multicultural society. And my point I was going to make to you was...
It's absolutely not. No. It's a multiracial society.
Yeah.
Though it was not actually a multiracial society up until pretty recent. It was just like 90% white for most of its existence, but whatever. But you did have different peoples, you had different religions. That was all totally fine, but there was one culture, as American culture. There's no such thing as a multicultural society. It's not sustainable. One culture will overwhelm the other. Again, it's not the same as race. It's not identical to race. It's connected, but it's not the same. But multiculturalism is by definition insane. No, it's never happened. It never will happen. One culture will predominate. It will impose its values on everybody else. I mean, the gay thing, which was not a thing 40 years ago, gay was a slur, all of a sudden becomes multicultural there. There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's
determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. That's natural. It's natural that people's views evolve.
So those values can evolve.
There's one culture, and it's required. And that's true in every society because a culture is a commonly agreed upon set of values, which in their firmest form are called laws.
But those values can evolve.
This is true everywhere.
But those values can evolve.
Of course they evolve, but there's only one set of them. It's not multicultural. There's one set. You worship one God in every society. Sorry.
But your country's values were established by the United States Constitution, and that's had, 26, 27 amendments, right? So your own values, as determined by the founding fathers, they have evolved and been changed to accommodate changing times.
There's no doubt. Look, I'm not even arguing against change. Natural that people's views evolve.
So the culture changes.
Once you start rejecting the laws of nature, then you're doomed. But let me just say, no, of course, societies change. I get it. All I'm saying, I'm making a very discrete, specific point, which is multiculturalism as an idea is laughably stupid. It has never worked. We never had it anywhere, and it never will exist because it's contrary to human nature. One culture, one way of looking at things, one worldview will predominate, and it will punish all who deviate from it. That is the nature of societies. So if you're telling me it's multicultural, we can all live and have radically different values, that's just not true. It's never been true. It never will be true. So you're having one culture, one worldview predominate over another and dominate and suppress all dissent. That's just what it is, dude. Let's be honest.
I would point to the United States of America and the United Kingdom as two shining examples albeit not completely without their flaws, the shining examples of places that are deemed by the rest of certainly feel that about my country.
Well, I certainly think that inherent in Christianity is the notion of tolerance, and that draws from a core Christian concept, which is free will. You cannot force someone to convert. There's never been conversion by the sword in Christianity. People decide to believe in it. And so that is central to the religion, therefore it's been central to the society. Western civilization is Christian civilization. And so we call that tolerance. It's a respect for your inherent God-given right to make a choice about what you believe. Okay, so of course, that's always been a feature. My only point is, a society has a commonly agreed upon set of beliefs, rules, and laws that are the definition of the society itself. That's what a society is. So you can't have competing. You can't have, gay world and Sharia world living co-equally in a society. That does not happen. It will never happen. You have to pick one. Are we the Sharia society? Are we the party time gay rights society? Like, which one? And you can't face that reality, so you're just sort of snoozing along until the inevitable point where you're going to wake up and be like, my values have no bearing on what our society is anymore, because we've been invaded by other people with a totally different worldview, and they're now in charge. And that day is coming very soon for your country, and maybe it'll improve it. I don't think the UK could be a lot worse than it already is. It's this kind of disgusting, sad, self-hating, suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English person, but that day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architect. That's a choice that we're all going to face. Suicidal island that was once great. It kills me to see it as a half English. That day is coming. It will change. You will either decide to be Western or Eastern. That's a choice that we're all going to face. I don't want to face that choice, but it's being foisted upon us by the architects of mass migration. Sorry.
I would question your characterization as my country as a sad, disgusting, what's the rest of it, suicidal nation. I feel none of those things. I feel very happy to be in the United Kingdom, and I feel that there are lots of very happy.
Our system, the Western system, which is very distinct from the Eastern system, very distinct, and it's distinct on this one precise point, we believe and have always believed since this country was founded, since your country became not a pure monarchy, but even when it was a pure monarchy, the belief in the West, because of Christianity, was the worst thing you can do is punish the innocent. That's the worst thing you can do. That's worse than not punishing the guilty. And we often said that to each other. We no longer say that because there is a pretty concerted effort to blur the meaning of these terms. But I'm not going to be deterred from defining words precisely. Terror is murdering people, killing people, punishing people who committed no crime. Period.
So when the Israeli government says it has repeatedly that even though over 20,000 completely innocent children are believed to have died in their response to what Hamas did on October the 7th at the hands of the IDF, there are many on the pro-Palestinian side who say that Israel is behaving like terrorists too in the way that they have gone about conducting this war. Would you go as far as to say that?
One of the things that I really object to now is this relentless focus on Israel, which, by the way, is a foreign country that I have nothing to do with.
We've done this before. Now, maybe today things are different, and we will end up living in a nation that is sharply divided and may ultimately produce something else. But I'm an American. I love my country. I want to see it stay together. I'm interested in social cohesion, which means that I think our laws, customs, and culture have to be dominant. We can accept some diversity on the edges, but not fundamental division. I think we're in a state of fundamental division. So when I bring up Sharia law, I've sat in many discussions with many people that said, well, I don't care what people look like, but I do care about Sharia law, and I don't want that practiced anywhere near my family or in my country. And that's something you should be aware of. So the notion that someone can come here and say, well, that's part of my religion and we're going to abide by Sharia law, they're going to find serious resistance and opposition in the country.
That's and as I clarified,
It's because it matters. It's this thing we call societal cohesion. Nations do not exist on their own. They have a core population. Our core population from the very beginning was always at least 80% European and Christian and about 15 to 20% African. But when you start bringing in huge numbers, millions, who are fundamentally different from the core population, you are going to get violence, anger, and conflict. How many times have you heard people say, if you bring people in from the developing world, what do you get? The developing world. And now we've got that. You can't bring in hundreds of thousands of people from Somalia, plant them, of all places, in Minnesota, and then be shocked that, no, they're not Americans. They're not really interested in being Americans. They're foreigners living on American soil. Nobody wants to say that publicly. If you do, oh, well, you're a racist. Well, you know, the world is full of racists. The real war that's going to decide our fate is not going to be fought anywhere overseas. It's going to be fought right here inside the United States. Are we going to survive as a republic, as an English-speaking republic that rests on the foundations of Western civilization? Or are we going to become something else?
One point that is
The Constitution was completed in 1789. I think we had 5 million people living in the 13 British colonies. We were 90% white, that is excluding the Africans that were in the country who had been brought here as slaves. But we were 90% white. We were 90% Protestant. And this may be hard for you to believe, but the people that wrote that were trying to protect all of the Protestant sects from a state church on the model of the Church of England and the Roman Catholic Church. That's one of the reasons it was almost 100 years or more after that before people began to finally accept Catholicism as a religion, because it was viewed as political power. My point to you is the Constitution is outdated. The way we are governed is outdated. It has to be re-examined. Nobody in 1789 imagined that anybody would come to the United States except another lunatic, religious fanatical Protestant who hated the Church of England. That's what people feared. That's what they thought of. The Constitution that we have does many good things, but I would argue that the Bill of Rights is ultimately more important. The Bill of Rights is vital and essential, and that needs to be defended. But the Constitution and the way we govern and the things that we're doing, it's out of date. It doesn't fit our needs. And that's back to my comment on something given has no value. You have to earn it. And we haven't made anybody earn their place in this country. I'm talking about people like me that have been here forever. My first ancestor stepped off the boat in 1681. So we've got to get back to some notion of national service, because national service promotes national integration. It addresses some of these problems that you're discussing. Now, I know that you may not want to conform and may not want to be as I am, but I'm an American and nobody questions that. Nobody ever will. If you don't want to stand out and be questioned, then I suggest that you change your appearance, because I don't think it's life or death for you to wear what you wear.
I think this conversation.
It's not fine, because it's leading to violence that could have otherwise been avoided. You see, every great nation, every large nation can always accept some number of people into its ranks that are different from them. It's always been the case. But if you suddenly import millions, which is what's happened here and happened in Europe, then you threaten the core gene pool. What I'm trying to tell you is there's a problem. And we can all pretend that there isn't, and you can insist there isn't, but that's the view. And I think it's incumbent upon all of us to address it truthfully and openly. Stop pretending it's not a problem. It's a problem.
I mean, what's also a problem is white supremacy. And that's
No, because you're saying you're different, you're going to remain different, and you don't think that if that's not compatible with being an American, then the hell with it. That's what you're going to do.
well, then what do you make then of, white American people who convert, let's say, to Islam and choose to cover? Are they not American anymore?
Listen, if they want to do that, that's obviously their business. I don't know how many are out there that do that. I think again, it's ill-advised. I think you have to hold the society together. There has to be an agreement on certain things, customs, culture, way of life. And unfortunately, if you're going to practice rigidly a brand of Islam that demands certain things, and this is why I asked right off the bat, do you support Sharia law?
I'm a Muslim. What being a Muslim means is I follow the guidelines of my religion, which is a peaceful
Does your religion dictate to you Sharia law?
My religion dictates to me to be a good human being, to be good to my neighbors, to
that the most powerful force in today's Republican Party is represented by what Charlie Kirk said. It is this drive to make America a white Christian nation. I got to tell you, this is what they say privately. This is now what they say publicly. This is what Charlie Kirk said publicly.
And Joe, again, one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, because you know these people very, very well. Yeah. You said it yourself. You were one of the strongest voices. You were one of the folks who understood the incendiary language when you were in Congress, when you had your radio show, and how people loved when you did it. And then when you chose to apologize for that and turn away from it, oh my God, they literally have just tried to destroy you because of that.
Yeah, again, you know the deal, Roland, right? I came out publicly against Trump 7 years. For 7 years, I put up with death threats on a regular basis. Nobody is welcome in that party unless you bow down to what this force is, this MAGA force. And again, look, there have been some people on the left who've celebrated Charlie Kirk's murder. Shame on them, be better people. But this is much worse, Roland, what my former friends are doing on the right, because they are turning this into a holy war. When you say we declare war on the left because of what some 22-year-old young guy did in Utah, and then you declare war on the whole left, that's a lot worse than celebrating Charlie Cook's murder, because that's dishonest, but that's also inciting hate and violence. And Roland, look, Trump's an idiot. So yeah, Trump says the left, the problem in the country is the left. J.D. Vance is not an idiot. What did J.D. Vance say today, right? He was subbing for Charlie Kirk on his radio show, and he spent the entire show going after the left, going after them, they, them. Man, Democrats need to wake up, Roland. This is a really serious deal by my former colleagues. The stuff that I hear privately from them right now, Roland, for the last 5 days, I mean, they want to go to war. This is a holy war.
Oh, it absolutely is. And what really jumps out at me on this very thing here, Joe, and I've been saying this, I played the speech 2 weeks ago that mainstream media just ignored, of Missouri Senator Eric Schmidt, who gave a speech at NatCon, Peter Thiel's group, where he literally gave a white nationalist speech, where he said our ancestors fought for this country to be our yours and no one else. He was talking about white people. He was basically saying if you are black, Latino, Asian American, or even Native American, America is not for you. And folks just ignored it. And so people need to understand, again, what they're saying, why they're saying it. And yes, there are many evangelicals, any very conservative white Christians who are pushing this as well. And you nailed it. They want a holy war. They want a race war. They want this to be a white country. It is clear as day.
And Roland, really important point. Charlie Kirk at only 31, the impact he had because he was one of the most successful pushers of this white Christian nationalistic idea. And so I think that's why all of his defenders are out there so strenuously denying he said anything divisive, because they know if you really go through Charlie Kirk's public record, everything he said about people of color and black women and Muslims and gays and transgenders, if people took the time to go through all of that, and that was put out for average people to see, they'd be blown away by it. That's why his defenders are like supercharged right now. They don't want that record to be seen.
Today, you mentioned, and I mentioned as well, Vice President J.D. Vance sitting to do his show. And listen to this man just blatantly lie, Joe. Play it.
I read a story in The Nation magazine about my dear friend, Charlie Kirk. Now, The Nation isn't a fringe blog. It's a well-funded, well-respected magazine whose publishing history goes back to the American Civil War. George Soros's Open Society Foundation funds this magazine, as does the Ford Foundation and many other wealthy titans of the American progressive movement. The writer accuses Charlie of saying, and I quote, "Black women do not have brain processing power to be taken seriously." But if you go and watch the clip, the very clip she links to, you realize he never said anything like that. He never uttered those words. He made an argument against affirmative action as a policy. He criticized a specific Supreme Court justice as an individual. He never said anything about black women as a group. He made an argument for judging people of all races and backgrounds by their own individual merits.
Bullshit.
Okay, Joe, this is actually what he said.
No, Roland, that's utter bullshit.
In fact, if we would have said 3 weeks ago, Blake, if we would have said that Joy Reid and Michelle Obama and Sheila Jackson Lee and Ketanji Brown Jackson were affirmative action picks, we would have been called the racist. But now they're coming out and they're saying it for us. They're coming out and they're saying, I'm only here because of affirmative action. Yeah, we know. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat seriously. Play cut 52.
But I rise today as a clear recipient of affirmative action, and particularly in higher education. I may have been admitted on affirmative action, both in terms of being a woman and a woman of color.
All right, Joe. He literally said it. Not only that, Vance lied. Soros does not fund the nation. So he sat there and flat out lied.
And Roland, remind me, what's J.D. Vance's job? He's the vice president, and yet he had time today to do a radio show for a former right-wing podcaster. I mean, look what they're not even, Roland, they're not even subtle about it, what this White House is doing. They believe, man, the path to victory is fear, hate, and division. And that's what they're putting out there. That that was Charlie Kirk literally going after 4 accomplished black women by saying they didn't have the brain power to get where they got. This is what he believed. And this is what MAGA believes. And that, again, Roland, broken record, that's why Charlie Kirk was so damn successful, why he had such a big audience.
Yeah, and not only that, you take Nick Fuentes, who's to the right of Charlie Kirk. The night of or the day after Kirk was shot and killed, Fuentes had 200,000 people watching him live. And so what you have this fervor. And so when I listen to Trump and Vance and all of these people talk about, how the left, they're indoctrinating. No, and you know this very well, the indoctrination. We've had people who formerly with Turning Point USA put out videos talking about how it was really this cult-like figure, this messianic figure, as they sort of set Kirk up as, and how they want them to follow that. And so that's what's going on here. These people are not trying to have open dialogue. And not only that, Joe, you take Trump, okay? Trump was very clear in saying he was not going to call Governor Tim Walz after those 4 folks were shot in Minnesota. 2 were killed, including former Speaker of the House and her husband. Now today he's saying, he never even heard of Melissa Hortman, and if the governor had asked him, he would have, of course, lowered the flags to have staff. I'm sorry, he's also lying. He knew about her. He knew about the shooting, but he was so arrogant that he said, 2 Democrats, a Democrat Speaker of the House shot and killed. Yeah, I don't care, but lower the flags to have staff with Charlie Kirk. Flies body on Air Force 2. Do a memorial service at the Kennedy Center. Do another one at the Arizona Cardinals Stadium. Give him the Medal of Freedom. And I'm telling you, they're going to give him a state funeral. That's what you're seeing right now. And then you got Peter Hegseth going after members of the military who said anything negative in the aftermath of his death. You've got Kirk supporters creating a database of people of every social media post, and then even Vance saying in the podcast, you call their employer. So the so-called free speech people all of a sudden are saying, if you say anything negative about Charlie Kirk after what took place last week, we're going to come after you, come after your job. I thought they hated cancel culture, Joe.
Yeah. Roland, I remember back in my right-wing radio days, I would come on every day, and there was always some story about some leftist group on a college campus that couldn't handle speech that made them uncomfortable
to say.
Roland, this is scary, and you and I are old enough, man, to remember huge figures in American history who were gunned down, struck down, military leaders, civil rights leaders. We are treating this 31-year-old podcaster, MAGA influencer, like he's Jesus Christ. So I come from the right. Why are my old colleagues and friends on the right doing this, Roland? Because the right wants a religious war. Let's just call it. They want a civil war. They want a holy war. That's why they're putting him up to be some Jesus-like martyr.
Absolutely. I mean, Glenn Beck literally came out and said he was a civil rights leader. Oh, my God, stop it. Stop it. I've seen people say, I've seen a lot of these videos, I'm leaving my church because my pastor did not mention him. This was a Christian warrior. And let's just be clear. You said it, white Christian nationalists. It's slaveholder religion. We heard a lot of this stuff during slavery, during Jim Crow, things along those lines. And this whole idea about, it was about debate. It was about, exchange of ideas. I mean, come on, let's just stop it. And so we see what's going on here. We see the games that are being played. And then what gets me, Joe, is this whole deal of, oh my God, the left, how they indoctrinated him and the accused killer going to a university. The dude was at a university for one semester, Joe. You're trying to tell me that one semester at a mostly white institution in Mormon, Utah, which is not a liberal bastion, somehow just radicalize him. I mean, it really is showing folks of the hand they're trying to play.
Yeah, and I think even on top of that, Roland, I think it was like some technical school. So it wasn't some crazy liberal arts school for a semester. Look, cut through all the BS. The Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, has publicly said that America should be a white Christian country. This is what animates my former party. Roland, you know me, right? Tea Party Hellraiser. I don't come from the left. I left the Republican Party when the Republican Party became MAGA. And my fellow Democrats and folks on the left need to understand, now these people are on the right. Now this is MAGA. MAGA now are the snowflakes. MAGA, Roland, they now need their safe spaces. It's funny, but it's not funny. And you're right about J.D. Vance, man. He just flat out lied. I mean, the last 30-year history of political violence in this country, the vast majority of it is right-wing. It always has been. And they put out this lie that it's only on the left. It's not even, Roland, a both sides problem between the left and the right. There is political violence on the left, but the vast majority is on the right, and they know that, and they're lying because they're trying to inflame their base. And Roland, I hear from their base every day, and let me tell you something, they are inflamed. I mean, they are ready to march and grab their you-know-what. This is a scary time.
It is, and folks need to understand what is certainly at stake. Joe Walsh, I appreciate you joining us on the show.
History of the cross, known by their works. What's the history of the cross? 500-year history of the cross. Murder, rape, destruction, deception, enslavement, burning, terrorizing. To maintain a slavery system, you must terrorize the people 24/7. They terrorize people from Africa and America for 400 years. Constant terror, 24/7, rape, murder. In the name of Jesus. This was Christians, not Buddhists, not Hindus. Christians in the name of Jesus, where they said Jesus cursed black people, they call them Ham, cursed them to be slaves and persecuted forever. In the name of Jesus, raped our women incessantly, pissed in our mouths, made us eat shit, And they took and tried to clean it up, not clean it up, but make it look more fashionable, I guess, by calling it chitlins. That's after slavery, of course, after so-called slavery. Because what was endured was not slavery. Look up slavery. Look up slavery. It does include murder, rape, terror. This is a Holocaust. And then now they try to downplay it. Oh, that was 40 years ago. No, it wasn't 40 years ago. I don't care if it was a million years ago. It was 40 years ago. It lasts for 400 years. As they're doing today, they took everything away from the slaves. Everything. Their name, their culture, their families, their religion, their minds, everything. Fed their children to alligators as alligator bait. And then they talk about what's going on in Gaza when they did 1,000 times worse. What's going over in Gaza now is simply just a miniature version of what they did. What they did was far worse than what's going on in Gaza. Gaza is bad. It's genocide. What they did was far worse and much longer. That's the legacy of Christianity. Murder, rape, disease. They wiped out the native population with genocide and disease. Smallpox blankets, knowing they was full with disease. Herpes, syphilis, gonorrhea from sleep with animals. So-called common cold was not common. Didn't exist here on this side of the world until they brought it here. Murder, rape. When they was raping out women, there was a cross hanging from their neck. And again, they taught black, and this was God's will. God's will. The enslavement of our people. And they continue on even today. That's the legacy of Christianity, the cross. So where's your rap sheet? Every time they arrest one of our people, your rap sheet. What's your rap sheet? How are you going to judge people for murder when you're guilty of murder beyond imagination for hundreds of years? Hundreds of years. Theft. You stole this land and murdered this people. And you crushed the native people here. When the braves would go out hunting, you would come into the camps like cowards and kill the women and smash the children's brains out on the hooves of your horses. This is the legacy of Christianity. That's the legacy of it. The question is, if instead of Columbus coming here, Dracula came here, Beelzebub, Wolfman, Frankenstein, Satan, and they all came instead of Columbus, what could they have done that Columbus and those that followed him did? Satan is the God of this world. That's the God they're serving. They have known him by their works. What are the works of Christianity? What are the works of Christianity? Where's the works of Christianity? Evil, deception, mischief, bloodshedding. It goes on today. And what's going on in Gaza, just reflection and microcosm of what was done here in America for hundreds of years. Raped out women incessantly. They would even rape while they was out in the fields picking cotton. They would jump off their horse and tell them to bend over and rape them. And tell them to keep picking cotton while they was doing it. This is the kind of stuff that they would do. Make one slave defecate and slave in the mouth of another slave, and then bound it up so they couldn't spit it out for 7 days. That's a legacy of slavery. You did it all in the name of Jesus. That's a legacy of slavery. Legacy of slavery. 40 years plus. Legacy of Christianity. Legacy of the cross. That's the legacy. That's the true legacy. So whose works are those? Who are you serving? Who are you serving? The legacy of the cross. Where's your rap sheet, America? Gog? Where's your rap sheet, Magog? Britain? Where's your maidship? Where's your rap sheet? Antichrist, false Israel? What's your rap sheet? Then they colonized Africa. They're stealing from ripping off everyone. The legacy of Christianity has been ruling for over 500 years. And now, the threat of nuclear war to finish off everything. That's a legacy of Christianity in the name of your Jesus.
Talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? excuse me, come out of her name, come out of her religion, come out of her culture, come out of her way of life, come out of her educational system. And do it
back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our parents here on. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You and I, turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting so. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. I would you like to see them rise up in the judgment, condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man say you are free. Remember that.
Surely you ain't talking about us packing our bags and going westward or going out there in the land. Ain't no cities, no towns, no infrastructure out there. Surely you ain't talking about that, are you? No. We ain't going back to Africa. No. This is your land. Our sweat, our tears, our blood has earned us the right to the land. What God wants you to do is come out of their ways. Come out of their pagan holidays where you should be honoring Jesus. You are out here buying bunny rabbits and inviting your children to paint eggs for some Easter hunt. Come out of her. Get the Santa Claus out of your house and a tree that is the way of the pagans. Come out of her. St. Valentine's Day. What the heck is that? Excuse me. Come out of her name. Come out of her religion. Come out of her culture. Come out of her way of life. Come out of her educational system.
Put it back to their people. When they was put off on the shores of North America. And this ship, Jesus, that John Hawkins brought our best hero. They stood and stared at it disappearing in the horizon, crying, wanting to return. With their hands stretched out towards that ship and tied in chains themselves bound together. And when they was put off on this memorable shows, they stood there staring at that ship that brought them to a strange land and a strange people who could not speak either one's language. Now they have to live in a strange country and a strange people who had proven to them every mile from their native land that they were going to be the worst enemies that they ever lived with. They were going to be the people that would destroy them. They soon discovered that on this ship that they were being brought here on. I don't know how we should say anything in the name of Jesus of good for us when this ship was named Jesus. This is how that we have always been deceived by the white man, trying to use Jesus, the name Jesus, to lull us off in a mental sleep, thinking that we are on our way to heaven. This is terrible. My beloved brothers and sisters, this is very hard for us to even to accept today. Imagine our parents standing crying to return to their native land and people, and you here today crying to stay with the very enemy that brought our fathers in subjection to their will. You and I, turning your face from your own native land and turning it back towards our own prison house and our own enemies who have destroyed us and seeks to further destroy us. How do you feel? How do you feel? Not wanting to return to your people. They are trying to make love with the very people that destroyed you and your parents. How do you feel? Acting such. And even today, they are beating and shooting you down throughout the country. There is no justice here for you and me. Why should not you want to be separated and be returned to your own? I ask you that question. Think over your parents on the eastern shore of North America, crying and praying to God to be returned to their own 400 years ago. How would they like, or you like to see them rise up in the judgment condemning you for being such fools as now want to live in the land that absolutely enslaved them and killed them and beat them for 300 long years here. They would condemn you as being fools for not wanting to be separated and go to your own, build up a nation for yourself after the white man said you were free. Remember that.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. Sulman Rahim here, Messenger of the Covenant. Okay, brothers and sisters, it's been a year now, and We're finally home after 40 years in Arabia. I'm reporting to you from Arabia. Finally home after 40 years. Right? And so we've been here a year now. And there was an agreement made. A former slave master, he said, we had a choice. Stay here or leave. Right? So we chose our inheritance, Arabia. So we left. And half the original people decided they wanted to give up their inheritance and traded for a place in America in reconciliation with their former slave master. That's their choice. They chose, said, we don't want to go over to Arabia. We don't go over where it's sand and all that stuff. We want to stay in America. We've been here all our lives, been here 40 years, born here, right? And we can make peace with our slave master. Okay, so they decided to stay. And so after a year, right, we're getting reports of how things are going over there. And it doesn't sound too good. How things are going over in America with their reparations. Because they was given, they got 6 states, I believe. Yeah, see? Yeah. Yeah, they got those 6 states right there. That's what Farrakhan told them. You know, they was listening to Farrakhan. Farrakhan promised them, you know, they stay there, 6 states, right? Had their own land. And they can make reconciliation with the former slave master. They're not devils. They're not devils. They're human beings. They just had a rough, you know, they were just, you know, did some things wrong, but now they, you know, they're gonna make amends and make reparations. So 6 states, and in addition to that, they gave everybody $1 million. Everybody stayed $1 million. Right? Say, thank you, Farrakhan. They're so happy. Thank you, Farrakhan. Thank you, Farrakhan. Man, you got 6 states. That's what you promised us. We got 6 states. They're thanking you. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? And you know, I mean, this was a year ago. They got the 6 states. Thank you, Farrakhan. Right? Everybody got $1 million. Everybody $1 million. And they're rejoicing. Oh man, they're so happy. Hey, we came, man. We made it. We got America, man. We got reconciliation for a master. We got 6 states. Everybody got $1 million. We're all rich. That was a year ago when we left. So we're in Arabia. They're still back there in America. And now we're getting reports a year later. This was the way it was a year ago, man. They were so happy. They were so happy. Right? And now we get reports of what's going on right now. Let's see. Oops, it says a power failure. Great power failure in those 6 states. Power failure. And it's just those 6 states. Right? So, and now they had a big and massive, they came asking to turn the power. Well, why can't they do it? Oh, Farrakhan didn't train anybody. He was telling you about 6 states, but he never prepared you for them. So nobody knows how to do it. How to turn the power grid back on. So now he's begging, man, master, can you come and turn this thing back on for us? I mean, you would think that if he told him 6 states to promise him that he would have prepared him for it, right? Their schools and education, whatever they needed for that. But now I guess they didn't, because they said over there now he's begging the former master to come and turn the power back on. And then what? I mean, this is all that's happening now. I mean, I'm getting these imports in now. A year later, it's like they're coming in every hour. Power grid failure, right? Then I said, oops, crop failure. All of a sudden, there's no. They said, they looked at the farmers, wasn't anything on the farmers said, oh. So then they had master, what's happening here? How come no, right? Our crop. They found that the land they gave them wasn't that fertile. A year later, nothing's growing. Crop failure. And now they master, what's happening here? Right? And then, I mean, all these things, every hour that's coming in, right? And then they look, and they had, a year ago they had plenty of food on the shelves, right? And now, they look there now and all the food's gone. It's gone. She said, what am I going to do here? Food's gone. The house is empty. So he said, Master, we need some food. Well, how come you can't produce your own food? I mean, you want your own country. You got your own states. That's your country. Now you run it. What are you calling us for? Right? So they're praying. And then, oops, no fuel. There's Master, no fuel there. Well, you got to buy your fuel. You got to produce your own fuel. What you calling us for? You got your own 6 states now. What you calling us for? Go and get some fuel. You got money, right? You got your own states. So you got to get your own. What you calling us for? You said you wanted your own, so now you got it. And you got your reparation, so we don't owe you anything anymore. We don't owe you anything anymore, so what you calling us for? We don't owe you anything. You said you agreed to 6 states and $1 million per person. You took that instead of your inheritance, what you call the Abrahamic covenant, Arabia. Your brothers and sisters, they left. They took that was offered to them. They took it, and you said no. I want this instead. So now you got it. So what you calling us for? Oh, no communications. Oh man. No communications, right? No medical facilities. So what's going on, Master? Wait a minute, hold on. That's you. What you calling us for? That's yours. You got to handle that stuff. You want us to handle it for you? You want independence, now you have it. I mean, wow, this stuff is coming every hour, man. Instead of like a year, they was celebrating. And now they're crying and begging the Master, okay, we got all these problems here. I said, wait a minute, that's yours. What comes about your problems? You have to work those out. Right? No transportation, I mean, no planes, or nowhere. We learned about fly the planes and drive the trucks and the boats and stuff, and to go and get this stuff. What would you tell us for? You wanted this, you got it. So go ahead and train your own pilots, build your own planes, build your own boats, and right? You see what I'm saying? Transportation, build your own trucks. What you calling for? Yeah, Master, we see this. You said you wanted 6 states, you got it. You want $1 million per person. That was the reparations. So now if you didn't pay people to take care of this, how's that our problem? You're independent now. You're really free now. Oops, no fuel, the gas station's empty. I can't drive, man. And no gas. Man, wow. All this stuff happened like for a year. They thought that everything was great, and all of a sudden everything ran out. So guess what happened? Everything was there when they got it, and then it ran out. They had to, for them to replace the fuel, to get the farms going. So they was left with that stuff. The factory was full. I mean, warehouses full. Then you had to keep they thought that was just going to, I guess they thought it was just going to be there, just by itself. They didn't prepare for it. See? And they ain't trained any engineers and scientists and architects and stuff. They business, they didn't train anybody. So Farrakhan, he told you he's going to get this for you, but he didn't prepare you for it. He didn't get anybody to handle this stuff. So what was that all about? So now he asked the master, said, hey, don't call on me. You was here, you had it when you was here with me. You said you want independence, you wanted reparations, so you gave it to you. Well, call on your brothers over there. They left, they handled their own business. You said you want to stay here. Right? See? Don't have any professionals or technicians, scientists, doctors, none of that. See? I mean, that's what, because, I mean, if you're going to set reparation, you should be preparing for that, right? So if he was telling you about reparation, you should be preparing for it. If he said, God said that's where he's going to get you, so if God told him he's going to get that for you, then he should, like when God told Noah there was a flood coming, to only build an ark, so he started building an ark. And so you should start preparing for the 6 states and the reparations, but apparently you didn't. And so now, he tells you, look, hold it. We want total separation. Look, we don't want you to call us no more. We don't want you to call us no more. Because you're wearing us. You want your own country. You got your own land. Right? You got money, $1 million, all this stuff, right? And so now we got to protect your money and everything too? No, you have to create your own money. You have to do all these things, your own wealth, not ours. Right? So we're going to cut you off from that too. Total economics. So they go and tell it. They tell all the people all the white folks, right? Because all the black folks, now all the black folks is either in Arabia or in those 6 states. That's the solution. You had to be one way or the other. There couldn't be no integration, that kind of stuff. That's the deal. He just said one or the other. So all the black folks are there, ain't no integration, that kind of stuff, right? Black folks are there, one or the other, so they're there. So he said, okay, right? So they just say, we're going to take our money because we don't know what y'all doing over there. You have your own money, you have your own wealth. So what they do is they tell all the white folks, say, protect your money, right? Transfer your money into gold. Just all your dollars into gold. Right? Now remember, they gave everybody $1 million apiece. So everybody got $1 million apiece, right? And so they transfer it to gold. And then what happens is that what they do is they start just printing money. White folks just start printing money. You understand what that means? That's inflation. Right? Because if you got $1 million of gold, a million ounces of gold, say 1 million ounces of gold, understand this, and you got 1 million certificates, then you say each certificate is worth 1 ounce. If you got 1 million ounces, each certificate is worth 1 ounce. Understand that? If you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one of those certificates is worth 1 million. If you want to say trade with the certificates, each one of the certificates is worth 1 ounce of gold. Right? But if you take and print, you say you got 1 million ounces of gold and you got 1 million certificates, each one. But say you print twice as many certificates, you got 2 million. Well, then each certificate is only worth 50 cents now because you got to connect that to the gold. Well, you print 4 times, then each one is worth a quarter. So the more you print, the less they worth because those certificates has to equal what the gold is. You understand? So the more you print money, the less, right? The less they're worth. So if you print twice as much money, right, there's less gold. You understand? So if $1 is worth 1 ounce of gold, which that's right, then if you print double that amount of dollars, then each one's worth half an ounce. You understand? That's what printing money without increasing their wealth does. That's inflation. So what happens is they keep printing. They get down to where $100 is worth a penny. But see, that doesn't affect their people. They told to protect their money because they transfer their money to gold. So gold still has its value. It's just the dollars don't. It still got the same amount of gold. But the dollars, they get down to a penny. So you can't buy it. You had $1 million, now your $1 million worth of $5. That's all it's worth. $1 million. Hardly worth anything. Hey, that's our money. You gotta have your own money, you control your own wealth. You can't keep coming at us what you're doing. And you think they wouldn't do that? Yeah, you've been a Gaza lately? You see what happened to the trees they made with the so-called natives? Kept telling me you had a forked tongue because they kept making trees with them, then they broke the trees. And took their land and genocide and everything else. But no, they wouldn't do that to you. See? Because now you have, your money's worth nothing. They haven't lost anything. Because once that money's worthless, it's no good, right? Then you bury it up, throw it away, it's worth nothing. The people still got gold. And even if they take it, hold on the money, hope to increase again, they just use another different certificate, use another form of money. So it's still worth nothing. That $1 million you had, you was so happy with it now, it's probably worth maybe $1. So you can't buy anything with $1. Plus the economy's collapse because everything is failing, and you don't know how to repair it. You don't know how to get those communications. You don't know how to do any of this stuff. You're not an engineer, build a house, you don't know how to do anything because Farrakhan didn't. Right? He didn't prepare you. He told you he'll give you 6 days. He told you, listen to me, right? So now you're broke, and your economy is gone. You have no food, no electricity, no power, anything, right? It's not their fault. They gave you what you asked for. You still had your inheritance for that. And then they closed the border. Because you want to try to get back into America now. We want to come back in, Master. No, we don't want you back in here. We sorry, we want to come in. No. That's what you chose. You stay there. They closed the border, so you can't get back in here. You can't get back in America, into what you could call your land now. Swaziland or something? Farrakhan. Maybe call it travel land. Farrakhan. They met the Farrakhan. Right? So they close the borders, you can't. Because now you're hungry and everything else, your money's worthless. Oh God, come back, Master, I'll come back work for you, I'll work for Popeyes, I'll do anything you want. No, remember, now blacks, either they over in Arabia or they in that land. There are no blacks in America, in places, just in that land that you 6 days. And now you're starving, you ain't got your money's worthless, nothing works, and they close the border. Right? And then you see Master, you on the phone, you talking to the guy that you kept treating, help you. Hey, we finally got rid of niggas. Finally got rid of them. See, on the phone. Yeah, it worked. We sold them no reparations. We sold them that used car. It turned the miles back and everything else, and they bought it. See? They could have had a BMW. They could have had a Lamborghini. They sold that for a BMW that looked good. Damn thing didn't work. And now they're starving, living in tents. Praying. So what? Then what next? What we gonna do, Farrakhan? You told us to take reparations, so we did. But they gave us everything we asked for. What we gonna do, Farrakhan? What we gonna do? Pray. That's his answer. Pray. That's your reparations. Like Elijah Muhammad said, he had a big picture. We leaving, and blacks staying on the shore, the ones stay behind, and they was whooping their ass. Right? Because they thought you think they were going to give you some land and take care of you? You think they were going to do that? And go bankrupt, give everybody $1 million? How much that is? If it's 17 million, that's 17 million times 17 million times a million is like $17 trillion, I think, something like that there. Then they're gonna do all that for you. They want to get rid of you. So now they have succeeded. Because they closed the border. What you gonna do? You gonna fight to come out? They closed the border. They got the military around there. They finally got rid of you. No more black problem, no more Negro problem anymore. One group's out of here, another group that's here. They're gone, and our hands are clean. We gave them what they wanted. Well, anything. Okay. God honors contracts. Remember he honored the contract with Jacob. Esau sold his birthright for a bowl of soup to Jacob, which was Esau's inheritance, and God honored it. Okay, Jacob, it's yours. You're the one. And that's the deal. Because he ain't your friend. Pharaoh ain't your friend. Pray, pray, pray. That's the answer. And this homeland you was promised, you rejected it. So now you got what you asked for. So if they gave you reparations today or tomorrow, how would that scenario not play out like that? Well, they say, okay, you got it. Tell me how the scenario wouldn't play out like that. And tell me why they wouldn't do it. They love you so much, they're going to say, okay, we're going to take care of them. I mean, why should they go out their way to take care of you when you was right here? You was working at Popeyes and then they get up on Section 8, all that stuff right here, because they're trying to get rid of that stuff right now. Trump's trying to get rid of all that stuff right now. Because they're closing on you don't realize it. Anyway, that's just, that's what's happening over in America. Wow. Boys, come here. Disaster over there. And, I just got a call. Oh, wait, hold on. Really? You serious? Our ambassador just got a call from I don't know what they call it Conland or something. I forgot what it's something name to call it right there. That 6th day. They begged us to come and help. Can they come over here? Can we come and get them? Really? Can we come and get them and bring them? Oh no. Now he went and asked Master Farah Muhammad, right? He said, no, hell no. We ain't going to get them. I agree with that. Yeah, the Master said he said, let's call him, and he passed the word to Master Farah Muhammad. Master Muhammad said, send him back. Master, no, we can't come and get you. You made your choice, live with it. Or die, whatever the situation is. Wow. I can't believe that. They actually, right, sent a message over. I don't know how they did. I don't have any communication with it. Somehow they got the information over to them. Said, would we please come and get them? Nope. Said, no, tell them no. And don't waste time communicating with us anymore. You got your land. You got your reparations. You got your money. You got Farrakhan as your leader. Yeah, tell him. Talk to him. Let him straighten out for you. He didn't want to sell you the idea. He was a salesman. So you on that idea of reparations. We told you. Right? Suleiman, right? He was the messenger to you, telling you, look, man, let's go home. You said no. You chose not to. Okay, brothers and sisters, that's a sad story. But I guess that's it. Is that it? Oh, they're not getting more reports on Okay, he says that was Master Prophet Muhammad's final decision, and I think they closed communications off from there. So, like I said, brothers and sisters, we got those guys that came in. All that came in today, man, came in fast. After a whole year, total collapse. Now they begging it. Somebody help them. We can't do it. Maybe Master help you. We won't do it. Assalamu alaikum. Update, brothers and sisters, got another late report in that they said, well, if you want to come and get us, well, we at least send them some food. They begged, said, please send us some food. Master Muhammad said, we got to send them a damn thing, nothing, zero. He said, please just send us some food. No, I just got that in. He says, if you can't come and get us, please send us some food. He says, no. He refused. I said, boy, I just got the information from the ambassador. He said, they sent that, and he's read to me. He says, no. He said, please, just please send us some food. He said, no way. You made your choice, case closed. Okay? Just got that in, brothers and sisters. Assalamu alaikum.